everybody's attention, we're going to move on with the agenda. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of providing an opportunity to the public to express themselves on school-related matters of concern to the residents of East Brunswick. To allow for a fair and orderly public comment period in accordance with Board Policy 167, individual comments are limited to 5 minutes. Members of the public are reminded that this is a public televised meeting of the Board of Education. To protect the privacy of all students and staff, concerns regarding individual students and staff members should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff by New Jersey Statute 10412B. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board this evening? Just please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Aviv Havich. My address, 43 Dorchester Drive. So I came here today with a speech prepared, but as you can tell, I'm going off the script. I don't need the speech. So I'm here representing a movement that I guess I helped to start about the exams, the midterms, finals, and it was tabled today. And I just want to say I'd like to thank everyone here for creating a respectful and open discussion and really helping us, supporting us and facilitating this process. I've got to say this is a very respectful, a very supportive Board of Education. You guys really make it a great experience for us to try to make an impact. I'd like to thank Mr. McAvoy, Mr. Valesky, Mrs. Becker, everyone on the board. I'd like to thank Dr. Vanilla. We had a Principals Council meeting yesterday and also today, really to outline these things. And yesterday, a lot of students gave their opinions, and I'm sure these were given to you. And to be honest, I'm really happy that this passed, and I'd just like to thank you all for your support again, and that's it. Thank you.
I have a question, Dr. Cohen. I'm curious. Maybe you can speak for yourself or for others. Why the interest in keeping midterms and finals?
Well, I have that speech with all my arguments. if you'd like me to outline some of my arguments.
I'll take the abridged version, but
all right. Well, really, it's a lot of the same things that everyone has been saying. Preparation for college is important. Also, there's been a lot of studies, psychological studies, educational studies on the benefits of cumulative testing over non-cumulative testing. You'll find that there was one by Creighton University Society for the Teaching of Psychology. And it's just better for short and long-term retention of information. And just the alumni come back, as Mr. McAvoy noted, and they say just how much this has helped them in college and helped them progress further in life. And I really think that we have a good system. We're I think one of the best schools in the state, ranked 15th in New Jersey last year. So I think the system works. I think it works well. And those are my basic reasons.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Farah Suker. I live at 19 University Road. I too am going off script. I came here today with the intention of presenting my ideas as well as many other of my fellow students' ideas about why midterms and finals should be continue to be instated, and quarterlies were not the way to go. The board has not only met all of our expectations to review what we were trying to accomplish, but also in the communication between the students at the high school as well to the principal as well as the board has been so successful and magnificent. I spoke before earlier with the IPPL class, and being able to work so closely with members of our education, the place that we're going to learn every single day, 5 days a week, this this is exactly what we're taught. We're taught that you have the ability to make change within your community. You, as an individual, are not just another brick in the wall. You can, if you have an opinion, you can go and voice it. Right now, I'm speaking at the Board of Ed meeting because I can, and I think that's incredible that the board reacts so well with the students. I'd like to thank the board for working with us. I'd like to thank Dr. Vanilla for having meetings with us and keeping us involved in this whole process. So not only do the students feel like we have been connected with our education and the things that are going to affect us directly, but the fact that we can get involved and we can do all of this for ourselves. So thank you so much for all that you have done. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Emily Polinsky. I live at 20 Sandra Road, and I would really like to agree with what Farah and Aviv said. This was a movement that I had no idea how big it could get so quickly. I'm part of the IPL 2 program, and we're taught that most of the things that make an impact in your life are not done at the national level, but really at the state and the local level. And this week, we really had an opportunity to see that. We weren't provoked by any teachers. We were merely provoked by a video of the last board meeting, and we had over 510 signatures the last time I checked on our petition. I would really like to thank the whole board for seeing that as students we do have opinions, and honestly I was almost shocked to see how many students wanted final exams. But the more research we did into this topic, the more we discovered that the schools that have switched, they're kind of inconclusive or they're going back and forth, and we really think that you guys have made the right decision tonight in listening to our opinions, and we really want to thank you just for understanding us not just as students or as kids, but as people and as citizens. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Pape Sentry. I live at 20 Bradford Road, and I'm a student at East Brunswick High School. Everyone that came up before me, they're all seniors, so they're on their way out the door. And we've postponed this or tabled this indefinitely so it can come back next year. So, and Mr. Todd Simmons mentioned, asked Aviv the other, what issues he had with the quarterly system. So I'm just going to give you, as we move into a period of reformation for the quarterlies we have now, or the system that we have now, I just want to say something real quick. As a junior, I'm swamped with SATs, ACTs, AP exams, schoolwork, and most importantly, preparing for college. At East Brunswick, a variety of AP classes are offered, which allows students to experience the rigor of a college-level course in high school. An AP class allows students to stand out in college admissions, earn college credits, and skip introductory classes. And according to the U.S. News and World Report, in the 2012-2013 school year, the AP exam participation at East Brunswick was 41%. And on average, every test taker took 3 exams. So let's take a moment and think about the numbers I just mentioned. If on average, AP students take 3 exams, that's $270 and potentially a chance of receiving college credits. With the new quarterly system, students with AP tests would simply be overwhelmed. The last week of April would consist of third quarter quarterlies, Common Core assessments, the PARCC, followed by the first week of May, which would be AP exams. Students cannot perform as well under the pressures of such a tasking test period. Essentially, the new quarterly system would be cheating AP students who have spent countless hours studying of the ability to perform at their full capacity. Another grievance I would like to address in regards to APs is the second quarterly. Midterm exams are extremely beneficial in AP classes because it's one of the only times a student gets a chance to see the AP exam before taking it. During the midterm exam period, students are given a mock exam and teachers simulate the testing conditions on a real exam. Without the block of time, students will have no other chance to take a mock exam and will be ill-prepared. Before I close, I would like to thank the board. The quarterly system took the student body by storm and outraged many. But by allowing us to voice our opinions, I believe that this issue will strengthen the student body as a whole and teach students that many movements may start as grassroots movements, but with the help of the passionate few and the support of many, it can flourish into something great. Again, I thank the board for listening to our grievances, and I thank everyone for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Karen Goldstein. I live at 61 Cleveland Avenue. I'm a parent of 4, 2 who are out and 2 who are still in. I would like to share with you the copyright from the Common Core Limitation on Liability. I'd like you to pay close attention, please, because this is one sentence, and this is the sentence very similar to what our 8th graders would have to decode. Let's see if you can do it. NGA Center and CCSSO, their representative subsidiaries, affiliates, censors, service providers, content providers, employees, agents, officers, and directors will not be liable for any incidental, direct, indirect, punitive, actual, consequential, special, exemplary, or other damages, including loss of revenue or income, pain and suffering, emotional distress, or similar damages, even if NGA Center and CCSO have been advised of the possibility of such damages. That's right, they take no responsibility for hurting our kids. This corporation, this entity that has forced its curriculum and its tests on our children is not liable for any harm done to our children, but all of you are. It is within your power to decide not to subject our children to the potential pain and suffering or emotional distress caused by the frustration and anxiety that this test will ensure, even for our most capable students. Now, I know that the party line is that there have only been 5 students whose parents have refused the test, and that our teachers should not believe the rumors that there are more than that. This is an untruth. Why, just today, principals in most of our district schools were busily making phone calls asking parents to reconsider, but accepting our parental right to refuse. I'm still waiting for mine. I'm sure it's coming tomorrow. By my last account, based on unscientific Facebook page evidence, don't you just love it when technology works for the people instead of against them? It is at least 50 students who have refused to take the PARCC test. So now, if you are a parent who has boldly decided to exert your 14th Amendment parental right to determine how your child is educated, I ask you to stand and hold up the number with your finger, hold the number of children in your household who will not be taking the test. Just hold up your fingers. Okay, that is more than 5. Even if you use Common Core math, which takes 4 times as long, causes tissues and erasers and pencils to fly everywhere, and basically makes parents insane. Okay. So, in fact, we are nearly now 1% of this district's population, and we are continuing to grow. It has only been 2 weeks. We have several more. We would like you to consider what you're asking of our students, and more importantly, of our teachers, to waste precious, precious time on non-education in the classroom. Thank you for your time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Berardi. I live at 19 Sherman Avenue, and I thank you for your time. I found it very interesting in doing my own research, and I'm a parent of a special needs child, and I have to say this special ed department is one of the best. I really appreciate the support, so I want to say that first off. But in finding my own research and literally talking to others and reading, I have a little food for thought. From a healthcare professional, an educator, and a licensed psychologist who also specializes in children with special needs, developmental, emotional, cognitive disabilities, etc., etc. Some reasons that we would have our children refuse the PARCC test. The culture of achievement at all costs increases anxiety levels and can be detrimental to a child's social, emotional, and academic development. The high-stakes testing philosophy creates undue burden on school professionals to meet standards, and no consideration is given to issues that affect learning outside of a school's control: poverty, disability, trauma, etc. Teachers have been stripped of their creativity and ability to engage students as humans rather than data points. The profit-taking makes us question the motives. In many other developed nations, Teachers are viewed as professionals and experts. Their salaries are commensurate with the level of respect. In this high-stakes testing culture, teachers are but mere cogs in a data collection machine. So I find that very interesting, and I wanted to share it with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Kornovac. I live on Morris Court, and I have 3 children in the public school system here, 1 in high school, 1 in middle school, and 1 in second grade. So I'm a little bit of an old-timer here. I want to start by thanking Dr. Valesky for meeting with a group of parents and for making the appropriate educational accommodations for the children refusing the PARCC test this year. Some people around the state refer to that as humane. I refer to it as both responsible and educationally correct. I do not believe that a sit-and-stare policy is anything that anybody could justify, and I'm very pleased that this district won't be among the ones implementing that. Second, I want to say that if you have listened so carefully and worked so carefully with the students and come around to change your mind on the issue of testing with respect to finals and midterms, I hope and I remain faithful in my belief that the board can also come around on the issue of PARCC testing. Third, I have been the recipient of letters and phone calls from the principals for the schools where I have been refusing to ask me to kind of reconsider and be sure that I'm completely comfortable with my decision. So I figured it would be much easier, rather than to answer them independently and repeatedly, to come before the board and let you know that I am entirely and completely 100% confident in my decision to refuse, that the NJ Ask was not just an older version of the PARCC. The PARCC is not just an easy transition into something different, from the NJ Ask into something new. These are fundamentally different tests, and they're different tests because they are for the first time testing comprehensively the Common Core state standards, which, while this district believes it is implemented well, we don't know. We haven't been tested on yet. We are using, secondly, an untested test. There was a pilot done last year, and repeated requests for results of those pilots by the Department of Education and the superintendent's office here have yielded no results because they have not released those results. So I do not know what kind of pilot they conducted and what the results were, because they're not sharing that. That small pilot is not commensurate with a statewide implementation and should not be considered as such. This test is untested. Third, this test is using a computer format. So now we are testing not just a new content on an untested test, but we are testing in a new modality. We are testing in one that favors children with the economic background to have access to computers, for those people who allow their children to use computers in their spare time. We are going to be facing the difference between whether a child is comfortable with a mouse and a drag and click. Fourth, these are high stakes. And for that matter now, I don't care whether you call it NJ Ask, PARCC, or anything out of Dr. Whoville. If it is a high-stakes test, it is wrong. It is wrong because these annual tests and assessments on children were never designed to measure high stakes. They were not designed. They are not considered valid among the academic professionals to measure whether a teacher is a good teacher, whether a school is a good school, and whether a district is a good district. We are abusing the nature of these tests for reasons that they were not designed for. But when you make them high stakes, what happens? We have to make sure our children perform well. We want them to succeed. We want to demonstrate we're a successful district. We want to get off being a priority school list for having or is it a focus or a priority? Focus. We're a focus for our achievement gap. So we want to raise up the bottom. We want to make sure everybody succeeds. That's wonderful. How do you do that? You teach to the test. Actually, you don't teach to the test. More accurately, you teach the test. You teach how to take the test. And that is why my children, particularly my 7th grader this year, has spent countless hours, and I asked Dr. Gaskell to give me a count, and they're not tabulating it, so I'm going to say countless, week after week practicing the PARCC. How to drag the protractor over, how to flip through screens, what happens if it goes down. Not only that, he's asked to practice the PARCC for exams that don't count towards his grade, but he's not told that. So now when his computer shuts down in 18 out of 25 questions and he can't complete it, he comes home freaked out. Mom, I think I failed the test, and I have to call Dr. Gaskell to find out, well, he wasn't told it didn't count, because we want them to take it seriously, but it doesn't count. This is not the right way to treat children. This is not the right way to treat a successful district, and we should not be engaged in capitulating to a narrative that tells us we need these tests to produce successful students and a successful district. It is wrong. And there are districts that have taken a stand against it. Bloomfield, where I spoke twice last year with the superintendent in the room and a board member by my side, stood up and took a stand against PARCC testing, passed a resolution, of which I brought you a copy this evening for your consideration. and may I recommend to put on the agenda for the next board meeting and consider passing. More recently, Bridgewater Raritan did the same thing. These are districts that have the courage to say this is not right for our students, this is not right for our budgets, we should not be spending $1 million implementing a test when we could be spending $1 million reducing class size, bringing in more extracurricular activities,
1 minute.
a better enriched curriculum. These are districts that have taken a stand to do what is right for their teachers and for their students, and I implore this district to do the same thing. You have come around on the issue of testing by listening to your students and your colleagues and your teachers, and I ask you to listen not just to the parents in this town, but the ones that are doing this nationally to talk about this. Look at the statistics of the number of states that have dropped PARCC. Look at the resistance it is building naturally, and ask whether 5 years from now you want to look back and say, I wish I had had the courage to do the right thing, or I am so proud that I am one of the districts that led the way towards rejecting something which is wrong for our children and wrong for our schools. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Janice Cooper, and my husband and I live on 18 Gundy Street. I'm a fourth-generation East Brunswick resident, EBHS graduate, mom of twins, and an educator who has a firm grasp on the Common Core, PARCC, and how it differs from previous state standardized testing. I'd like to address the board regarding PARCC, loss of instructional time, increased test prepping, refusal, cancellation of authentic teacher assessments, and East Brunswick's highly qualified teachers. As the parent of Justin and Kaylee Cooper, who are in third grade at Chittick Elementary School, we have respectfully refused to allow them to participate in the PARCC testing or any activities tied to it. Please know that our decision to refuse the PARCC test has no bearing on the education we feel East Brunswick Public Schools offer our children. We are proud of this district and all it does to ensure academic success for its students. We hold the school and the teachers in the highest regard, and we implicitly trust the highly qualified teachers in the classroom to do the job that they were trained to do, to create a learning environment that supports the individual needs of all children, develop their talents to become critical thinkers, productive, contributing members of our society. The PARCC is not a reflection of the teacher's abilities or my children's. Furthermore, we do not believe that a computer is best equipped to evaluate the effectiveness of East Brunswick's highly qualified teachers, nor the ads placed on Craigslist and Facebook will get highly qualified individuals grading the written portion of the exams. We oppose the tying PARCC and state standardized test scores, which are reflected in teacher evaluations, as if East Brunswick highly qualified teachers' effectiveness could be measured by a number. Minimizing teacher competency and efficiency to a single set of data points that in actuality reveal nothing about a teacher's ability to transform, inspire, and ignite a passion of lifelong learning is disingenuous, to say the least. Instead, we support and believe in East Brunswick's highly qualified teachers to implement district assessments to drive their instruction, identify Kaylee and Justin's strengths and weaknesses, and class placement, instead of a corporation like Pearson, whose agendas of profit-seeking have created a multi-billion-dollar system of profiting off of student failure. I have a quote which seems to be a recurring quote from principals and administration regarding parent refusals from letters of the PARCC test. We believe that the annual assessment program, which has been in place for more than 30 years, provides parents as well as teachers with valuable information concerning the academic progress of our children as they progress through the grades. How can you make a statement when it's so obvious to parents and educators how the PARCC is affecting our curriculum, such as overemphasizing test prep, significant loss of instructional time, which was proven, or maybe not be proven because I didn't know about the cancellation or holding off on the midterms and finals, and replacement of additional PARCC testing in the spring. As Fontes and Pinnell said, the primary purpose of assessment is to gather data to inform teaching. If assessment does not result in improved teaching, then its value in school diminishes greatly. What is the benefit of PARCC testing when the results will not be immediately accessible for teachers to use to drive their instruction? Where is the value in that? As a teacher, I can tell you, there's none. The value is an authentic teacher assessment and midterms and finals, not Pearson. As one of the 9 states left, plus DC, which is left taking the PARCC, everyone else has dropped the PARCC and Common Core testing. The only district in the state of New Jersey
1 minute.
having 11 schools designated Blue Ribbon School, National School of Excellence by the United States Department of Education, and is having garnered the state and national honors in academics, athletics, and arts. I'm urging you to implement a written policy regarding PARCC refusal, to acknowledge the loss of instructional time and increase test prepping in our school, and midterms and finals, and let East Brunswick's highly qualified teachers get back to do what they do best, and teach. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board this evening? Seeing none, we're going to close the public section and we'll move on to our action items for this evening.